Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Coffee Rant with Dano. We got a big one tonight, guys. This is a little disturbing. Thank you all who left us emails over the weekend on this. I had heard about this a couple days ago, and you guys know, especially something like this, I wanted to do some research before we talked about it. I had even questioned I was even thinking to not even talk about this. This is just so disturbing. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, but we're going to do it. We have to. I feel like we have to. People need to know this. People need to understand what's going on, what's been going on. We've talked about this in the past, so just going to get right into it here. So we're reading from Fox News Channel. Okay, Fox News Channel. But this is everywhere. This is on news. There's a couple reasons which I'll explain at the end why I decided to read from Fox News Channel. One, it talks about some things that we talked about in the past that kind of raises raises some questions. So, anyway, but it is all over the internet. Choose whichever website. I know a lot of our viewers read from Newsweek, USA Today, some of those. It's all over. I mean, I know it's on Newsweek. Not sure if it's on USA Today, but it's on a bunch. Okay, so Fox News Channel's, this was E. coli outbreak went unpublicized by FDA despite affecting 15 states. And at the title it says, in total, 36 people were hospitalized and 1 person had died. Okay. The Food and Drug Administration is coming under fire for not publicizing its own report into an E. coli outbreak last year that spread across 15 states and infected 89 people total. Infected 89 people, 1 of whom died. The outbreak was linked to romaine lettuce, with the first case being recorded in St. Louis County in Missouri in early November 2024. Now, before we go any further here, I want to remind everyone that let's not forget the McDonald's case that we had with the slivered onions there for a week or two. I was very hesitant to announce those as they were. That came, a lot of these recalls and outbreaks and stuff like that, I understand you want to not just throw it out there, but you got to let people know. You got to say, hey, look, we're not sure of this, but we're investigating it, right? You can't just wait like a few days, because by the time you wait a few days, so many more people may have already bought that product. Okay. So, the outbreak was linked to romaine lettuce. Okay. Yes, back in February. In total, 36 people were hospitalized, and 7 people developed hemolytic uremic syndrome, or HUS, a serious kidney disorder. Details about the death are unclear. The E. coli was 0157:H7, which is the worst, dangerous one. Maybe not the worst, but I know it's a dangerous one. And it was the 0157:H7. And then it says a particularly dangerous strain that can result in severe illness. Okay. About 95% of those infected reported eating leafy greens, and 88% of those could recall consuming romaine lettuce, according to the FDA report. The report came to light after NBC News sought a public records request connected with ongoing litigation. The FDA traceback led to a single grower and processor with the romaine traced to a common ranch and lot. Get ready for this. But the agency was unable to confirm the outbreak as connected to the location. Connected to that location, there was no infected lettuce by the time investigators learned where the E. coli was coming from. But still, should you make it public? 7 subclusters were identified, including at catered events, restaurants, and a school. The FDA then concluded its final report in February, but redacted the name of the common ranch it investigated as being the source. Additionally, despite the severity of the outbreak, the FDA did not publicly announce the result of its investigation. Quote, there were no public communications related to this outbreak, end quote, the FDA said in its report. That is concerning, said Frank Giannis, the former Deputy Commissioner of Food Policy and Response at the FDA. Quote, it is disturbing that the FDA hadn't said anything more public or identified the name of the grower or processor. End quote, Giannis told NBC News. He argued that by choosing not to identify the responsible party, the FDA withheld important information that could have helped consumers make informed choices about their purchases. He also noted that some individuals may have become ill during the outbreak without knowing the source, and that serious bacterial infections can lead to lasting effects. The FDA, in a statement to NBC, said it names firms when there is enough evidence linking them to an outbreak, and if there is, quote, actionable advice for consumers, as long as naming the firm is not legally prohibited, a spokesperson said in a statement to ABC News. So was it not legally was it legally prohibited? Like, I mean, that's a washy answer there. I mean, like, can't you come out and say, like, you're not directly saying that this is coming from here, right? But you come out and tell the people, right? This is what you should do. I mean, if not, then they need to work around this, because cut the red tape. Or maybe, obviously you don't want to do something that's illegal, but at the same time, you want to make sure that, hey, we're not sure of this yet, but we're investigating it. So might want to hold off on getting that romaine lettuce for a little while. I just don't know, guys. It's just crazy times, guys. Crazy times. Okay, Fox News Digital reached out to the FDA for comment, but did not immediately receive a response. Okay, that's something else too. Like, so you didn't immediately receive a response. Did you receive a response at all? Like, I mean, I'm sure you did if you put immediately. You didn't immediately receive one. So, I don't know. That's the direct finger point, I guess. I don't know. I'm just a messenger, guys. I am just, a lot of you guys had emailed me this over the weekend. Me and Jessica were doing stuff, Easter and all that. And I did want to give this a few days. This is, I'll be honest with you, it's something I really did not want to talk about. I really didn't. But there were a lot of people affected by some of these things a couple months ago, and we're going to read a couple things that might open some eyes or be like, oh, okay, well, let's see if this was part of it as well, or was this the source the whole time? Not sure, okay? Opinions are coming out. The lightning is flowing, but let's read on. NBC reports that 9 lawsuits have been filed against California-based Taylor Farms, one of the country's largest producers of salads and fresh-cut vegetables. They argue in court documents that Taylor Farms sold, quote, defective and unreasonably dangerous, end quote, food products. Taylor Farms denied it was the source of the outbreak in a statement to Fox News Digital. Quote, Taylor Farms' product was not the source of the referenced 2024 E. coli outbreak. We perform extensive raw and finished product testing on all our product, and there was no evidence of contamination, end quote, the statement reads. That's like the exact quote that we read like months ago during the McDonald's thing. That looks like, I mean, it even looks like a canned response, because they have in all bold or all capital letters was not. And there was, they had linked it to, I believe it was another farm up near, it was in the some northwestern state is where it had came from and processed. At least that's what they said, right? That's what we talked about months ago. Quote, any reporting that connects Taylor Farms products to these heartbreaking illnesses is dangerous, irresponsible, and unfair to the impacted families. To be fair, this could be part of the reason why they were trying to figure it out before it came out, because you don't want to sit there and blame people, but again, at the same time, like I said, just say, look, we're not saying this is or isn't, but we're investigating it. Hold on, right? It's like if we talk about a food recall or something, and there's 1 or 2 products that are on that recall, and then me personally, I'm going to wait a few days, maybe a week or two, depending on best if you buy dates and stuff like that. I'm going to wait a little while to see if any more products are affected, because a lot of these recalls over the last couple of years, that is exactly what's happened. Okay. The company said that 0157:H7 comes from livestock, not from fresh produce. The FDA, Taylor Farms said, did not find the source of the outbreak because they are not authorized to inspect the beef industry. Really? The company said that, we'll get into that later. The company said that all of its leafy greens are subjected to a robust sampling and pathogen testing program, which that is true. The outbreak came just weeks after a McDonald's E. coli outbreak linked to Taylor Farms. That's probably why. But this was the onions, right? This is, like I said before, I can't remember. Maybe they'll say it in here. This is the reason why I chose this way. This is the Fox News Channel website. That's why I chose this, because they were going into the different McDonald's things that I wanted to talk about. Some of the other ones just were talking about what had happened, but they weren't given all the different information that we went over months ago. Exactly the same time that apparently this one was happening. The outbreak came just weeks after a McDonald's E. coli outbreak was linked to Taylor Farms. Taylor Farms supplies McDonald's with its slivered onions used in its popular Quarter Pounder burger. And as we probably all remember, boy, you talk about something that hit the country news everywhere. You ain't getting a Quarter Pounder for a few days. We got to work this out. And boy, I'll tell you what, that sure didn't last long. McDonald's took care of that problem real quick. I mean, it was crazy. Like, the Quarter Pounder was back on the menu. As a matter of fact, it never left the menu around here. I guess it was just where those packs were sold to McDonald's, I guess, or sent to McDonald's in different states. I don't think it was ever taken off the menu here. And where it was only taken off the menu for like a few days, maybe a week at most. I know it wasn't a long time. The farm voluntarily recalled the onions after the outbreak infected more than 100 people, killing one person. And I guess, as being what would have to be, at least I have to assume that this is a second report, right? Because the other one claims 89 illnesses, one person who had died, and this one, 100 people, killing one person. The farm voluntarily recalled the onions. So this is the onions, not the lettuce. Okay, so let's not get confused. This is the other one. I don't even know anymore, guys. This is just crazy. A statement provided by Taylor Farms spokesperson to KSBW at the time said, quote, "We test both raw and finished products for pathogens and have found no traces of E. coli. We have never seen E. coli 0157:H7 associated with onions in the past." We had talked about that they have never seen that specific pathogen of E. coli in onions before. I did a lot of research on that, and no, I couldn't find anything except for this. Out of an abundance of caution, Taylor Farms Colorado removed yellow onions from the market produced out of our Colorado facility. We continue to work closely with the FDA and CDC during this ongoing investigation, end quote, the statement added. Our priority is the health and wellness of our customers and consumers and the safety and quality of our products, end quote. Isn't that nice? That's a nice quote. That's a nice quote. Without your customers and consumers, you're not going to make any money. Okay? Like, that's so friendly. I wonder if people read this stuff and it's like, they're so nice. They're so nice. Without you, they're dead in the water. They're not going to make any money. So, yeah, I mean, if I was the manager or CEO or whatever, sure. Put out the canned response, guys. Put out the canned response. The one that, hey, we messed up. Or, We need people to feel good about our products. I'm not saying who knows who or what is at fault anymore. And I'm just joking around a little bit, okay? Trying to make it a little light. Obviously, you want to put out a statement like that. Obviously, you care about that's what I'm saying, is obviously you care about your customers and consumers, or you're going to be out of business. I mean, that would be my number one concern for my employees, my customers, anybody, is, safety and concern. We don't want to be responsible for something like that. We don't want something like this to happen at our company. I mean, I can speak from knowing, Kroger, okay, and we'll talk about Kroger for a second. This is just what I know. Their labs, what they do down there at Kroger, they are on it. I mean, on it. I've known people who have worked throughout Kroger. I've known people who have been, worked through different labs and stuff like that. It is rigorous. It is rigorous. And if this somehow, and I understand things happen, right? And something could have happened. But the whole fact of the matter here is that this part of this investigation, or whatever, was not talked about. And that is the real danger here. And whether you were allowed to or not, there probably could have been a couple ways around that. You could have even probably talked to Taylor Farms or whoever and said, hey, look, we're investigating this. We have to let the people know. I need you to sign here. If you don't, then it could look a lot worse for you. Right? I mean, you got to let the people know. You got to let all those people know. The ones who you say now are confirmed, 100 who had gotten sick, or 89 who had gotten sick, 1 who had died. And that's just dust in the wind, paper in the wind. No, unacceptable. And things, I don't know. From covering all these different recalls and different things that have happened over the last couple of years, it's hectic. It's hectic. I'm sure they got a lot on their plate right now. Okay? But this is a no excuse type job. I've never made excuses for anything in my life. I never make excuses. If I'm late, sorry. It's just that thing, like, this is important, and it needs to be discussed as it happens. Because if you would have just said something and said, look, maybe this is it, we're not 100% sure, and they say, well, it was already gone by the time the testing, well, whether the testing was there or not, you knew something was going on, right? I don't know. Guys, I will continue to keep whatever updates I can on this. I've been just saying, I didn't even really want to talk about this today just because it's, I hate delivering such bad news. But I felt like this is one that we really need to discuss, just to basically, you want to be aware. Not to scare, be aware, right? Because the more we're aware, the less likely these things are going to happen to more people in the future. The more people we reach, the more people that we talk about. I mean, how could you know, though? That's the thing. But to know that this is a possibility of happening, always keep your eyes open, guys. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.